"Please, ma'am, don't call the police." The trembling voice of the boy hiding behind the dumpster made Emma stop in the middle of the dark alley. It was 2 a.m. in Newark, and she had just finished her shift at the diner. In Manhattan's most luxurious penthouse, Richard Blackstone adjusted his $5,000 Italian tie as he gazed out at the city through floor-to-ceiling windows. "Where's that kid?" he growled at the man in the black suit standing at his door. "I'm still looking, sir. We've already searched the entire city area." "I don't want an apology." Richard threw his whiskey glass against the wall. "That brat is worth $2 billion, and you let him get away. If he opens his mouth to anyone—" The man swallowed hard. "And his mother, sir?" Richard smiled, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Victoria is medicated. I've given her enough sedatives to sleep until tomorrow. When she wakes up, I'll convince her that the boy had another psychotic episode. After all," he lit a Cuban cigar, "what mother wouldn't believe that her disturbed son ran away from home? What if someone finds the boy first? That's why I offered 10 million. Money buys silence, and if it doesn't—" Richard opened the drawer, revealing a pistol. "Well, accidents happen to troubled children who run away from home." He walked to the room where Victoria Ashford Blackstone slept, drugged. On her nightstand was a photo of her first husband, Benjamin Ashford II, who had died just 2 months earlier in a yacht accident. "Your husband was easy," Richard whispered to the unconscious woman. "His son will be even easier." Across the Hudson River, in a tiny third-floor apartment in a Newark walk-up, Emma Thompson was trying to work miracles with $20. "Mommy, I'm hungry." Lily rubbed her eyes, holding her doll with one arm missing. "I know, baby." Emma counted the coins again. "How about cereal for dinner? We can pretend it's a sleepover." Again, Lily didn't complain, but Emma felt the weight of that question. The apartment had only 2 rooms, a living room that doubled as a bedroom at night and a cramped kitchen. The walls were stained with damp, the faucet dripped constantly, and the heater only worked when it wanted. But it was their home. Emma looked at the clock, 11:45 p.m. "Lily, you're going to stay with Mrs. Chen today, okay? Why do you work when everyone else is sleeping, Mommy?" "Because," Emma swallowed the lump in her throat, "because that's when people need food and have no one to make it, and the tips are better." The truth was, the night shift paid $2 more an hour, and she needed every penny. The divorce had left only debt. Jake had gambled away his savings before running off with the dentist's receptionist. At Mickey's Diner, a 24-hour restaurant that had seen better days, Emma donned the faded yellow uniform. "Emma!" shouted Tony, the cook. "Table 4 wants eggs, but no runny yolks. Table 7 complained about the coffee again." "Taking care of it, Tony." She smiled at customers, always smiling, even when truck drivers called her sweetie or drunks tried to grab her hand. Tips. Lily needed asthma medication this month. "You look tired, honey," said Dolores, the other waitress, a woman in her 60s who smoked like a chimney. Lily had nightmares again. She still asks about her father. "Men!" Dolores spat the word. "My third husband ran away too. He took my car and left the dog." Emma laughed for the first time that day. At least the dog was loyal. It was 2 a.m. when Emma went to take out the trash. The alley behind the restaurant stank of rotten food and urine. Then she heard it, a muffled, barely audible sob. "Is anyone there?" Silence. Emma rounded the dumpster, and her heart sank. A boy, not much bigger than Lily, was huddled in the corner. Even in the darkness, she could see that his clothes were expensive, or had been. His wool coat was torn. His Italian leather shoes were muddy. His face was picture-perfect, high cheekbones, slender nose. But it was his eyes that held her captivation, green as emeralds, filled with a terror no child should know. "Please," his voice was polite, even though it trembled. "Don't tell anyone you saw me. Please, ma'am." "Oh my God, you're freezing. How long have you been here?" "I don't know. A few hours. Days. He started to cry. "I can't go back. He'll hurt me again. Emma knelt, her maternal instincts screaming. Who's going to hurt you, darling? The boy shook his head violently. I can't tell. He has eyes everywhere. He said if I told... His small hands were shaking so badly that Emma saw something that made her blood run cold. Purple, finger-shaped marks on his wrists. What's your name? Ben. Just Ben. Ben, I'm Emma. Are you hungry? He nodded shyly. Emma looked around the empty alley, making a decision that would change everything. Come on, let's get you something warm to eat. Inside the restaurant kitchen, under the fluorescent lights, Emma finally got a good look at Ben. The boy was in worse shape than she'd imagined. Tony, she called to the cook, I need hot soup, now. Emma, who is this? Please, Tony. No questions. The old cook grumbled something in Italian, but heated up a bowl of chicken soup. Ben devoured it as if he hadn't eaten in days, his hands still shaking. Slowly, dear. Emma stroked his brown hair, feeling him flinch at the touch. When was the last time you ate? The day before yesterday, I think. Ben wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, a gesture that clashed with his refined posture. The housekeeper tried to sneak me food, but he found out. Who found out, Ben? The boy went white as a sheet, his green eyes widened, searching for exits. I shouldn't have said that. He always finds out. He has people everywhere. Emma knelt in front of him, gently holding his small hands. That's when she felt it. His hands were too hot. Fever. Ben, look at me. You're safe now. No one is safe from him, Ben whispered. My father tried to protect me, and now he's dead. Emma felt a chill. Your father? It was an accident. Everyone said it was an accident, but I know it wasn't. Tears streamed down his dirty face. And now he wants to commit me. He told my mother I'm crazy, that I make up stories, but I don't make them up. I don't make them up. His voice rose in panic. Emma hugged him instinctively, feeling his small body tremble against hers. Shh, it's okay. I believe you. Do you believe? Ben stared at her with such desperate hope that it broke her heart. Yes, I believe. Dolores appeared in the kitchen doorway. Emma, there are two men in suits asking if anyone has seen a child. They're showing a photo. Ben went into a complete panic. They found me. They're going to take me. He's going to commit me. Calm down. Emma grabbed his shoulders. Dolores, tell me we didn't see anything. Tony, you didn't see anything either, right? Tony crossed his arms. What boy? I didn't see any boy. Dolores blinked. I'll stall them. Emma could hear male voices in the hall, deep, commanding. Ben, listen, I'm going to get you out of here, but you have to trust me. Where to? Emma thought quickly. The police? No. Ben was too terrified. Social services. They would return him to his family. There was only one option. My house. It's far from here. They won't find it. But I don't want to cause trouble for you. I've been in trouble since the day I was born. Emma forced a smile. One more won't make a difference. She grabbed her coat and wrapped Ben in it. The boy disappeared inside the fabric. Emma looked out the back window. The alley was empty. When I say, run, you run. Don't look back. Ben nodded, squeezing her hand tightly. They left through the back door. The cold November air was razor-sharp. Emma led Ben through alleyways she knew by heart, shortcuts she'd learned from avoiding ticket collectors. There! A voice shouted behind them. Run! They ran. Ben stumbled, his little legs struggling to keep up. Emma picked him up without thinking, feeling how light he was, too light for an 8-year-old. They turned corner after corner. Emma could hear footsteps behind them, getting farther and farther away. Her apartment was 20 blocks away. Her arms burned, but she didn't stop. Miss Emma, Ben whispered in her ear. Why are you helping me? Because, she panted, someone has to help, and it looks like I'm that someone. Finally, they reached her building. Emma ran up the 3 flights of stairs, Ben still in her arms. The Mexican neighbors on the 2nd floor peeked through the door, but Emma ignored them. Inside the apartment, she locked all 3 locks. "Lily," she called softly. "She's at Mrs. Chen's," she reminded herself. Thank God. Ben looked around the tiny apartment with curiosity, not judgment. "It's small," Emma said defensively. "It's cozy," Ben corrected. "And there are no cameras." "Cameras? He put cameras in my room. In the bathroom too. He said it was for my safety." Ben hugged his knees. "I had no privacy, not even to cry." Emma felt nauseous. What kind of monster would do this to a child? "Ben, I need to see your injuries." "No!" he recoiled. "They're ugly. I'm a mother. I've seen bruises before." Reluctantly, Ben took off his coat and lifted his shirt. Emma covered her mouth to keep from screaming. His back was covered in bruises in varying stages of healing, some fresh purple, some yellowish, and there was something worse, small, round burns. "They're cigarette butts," Ben said flatly. "He does it when I drink the wrong milk at breakfast, or when I don't smile right at the investors, or when—" His voice trailed off. "When I cry for my real dad." Emma felt tears burning her eyes. "How long has it been?" "Since he married Mom. 2 months." "And your mother?" She's on medication now. Lots of medication. He says it's for depression, but she's always sleeping. When she's awake, she doesn't seem like herself, like a doll." Emma grabbed the first aid kit. As she carefully cleaned the wounds, Ben said, "Are you going to turn me in?" "Never. He's going to come after me. He can't let me get away. I'm worth a lot of money." $2 billion. That's what I inherit when I turn 18. But if something happens to me before then—" Ben shuddered. "It all goes to my mother. And if she's married, it goes to her husband," Emma finished, the horror of the situation becoming clear. "My father left a letter in the bank safe, only I can open it, with my fingerprint. He said that if anything happened to him—" Ben started crying again, and soon fell asleep. Emma then went to lie down on the couch and let the boy rest on Lily's bed, which was at Mrs. Chen's house. The day dawned and Emma picked up Lily at Mrs. Chen's house, who didn't ask many questions. Lily got home. She asked 1,000 questions about her new cousin, and the news kept talking about his disappearance. "Mommy, look!" Lily pointed to the neighbor's TV, which was playing loudly through the thin walls. "It's the rich man from TV again." Blackstoner's voice echoing down the hallway. She ran to the window and saw that Mrs. Chen had the TV on, the window open. Ben was coloring with Lily when he heard the voice. His pencil fell, rolling across the floor. "What's wrong, Ben?" Lily asked innocently. On television, Richard Blackstone stood at a lectern, perfectly calculated tears streaming down his tanned face. "Please," his voice broke dramatically, "I just want my son back. Benjamin is all I have left after his mother, after we lost his father in that terrible accident." Emma saw Ben begin to tremble, his green eyes fixed on the screen, pupils dilated with sheer terror. "Ben," Emma knelt beside him. "That man," Lily pointed, "he looks sad." "No!" Ben snapped, startling them both. "He's not my dad. My dad is dead." Emma quickly closed the window, but Ben was in a complete panic, pacing back and forth like a caged animal. "He's lying! He's lying to everyone!" Ben pulled at his hair. "My dad died 2 months ago." 2 months! "Ben, calm down. Breathe with me. That man," Ben pointed at the TV, his hand shaking, "is Richard Blackstone. He married my mother 3 days after the funeral. 3 days. What kind of person does that?" Lily hid behind Emma, startled by the explosion. "Ben, honey, you need to calm down." "You don't understand!" Ben was hysterical now. "He says he's my dad on TV. People will believe me. No one ever believes me." Emma grabbed his shoulders. I believe you," Ben stopped, looking into her eyes. You believe? Yes, but you have to tell me everything. Everything, Ben. Ben collapsed onto the old couch, looking even smaller. Lily, with her 5-year-old innocence, brought his favorite blanket and placed it over him. Thank you, Lily, Ben whispered. My real father was Benjamin Ashford II. He was good. He took me fishing. He read me stories. He never yelled, even when I broke things. Tears flowed silently. He died in October. The yacht exploded. They said it was a gas leak. But you don't believe that. The night before, I heard him on the phone. He said, Richard, if you come near my family again, I'm going to the police with everything I know. Emma felt a shiver, and then he died. And Richard showed up at the funeral with flowers. Mum was so sad, so lost. He was kind. He brought her sleeping pills. He said he would take care of us. And your mother accepted. She was broken, Emma. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't sleep. Richard was always there, always with more medicine. Within 3 days, they were married. She could barely stay awake at the ceremony. Lily was holding Ben's hand now, the way children do when they sense someone needs comfort. When did the bruising start? Emma asked gently. Ben lifted his shirt, revealing his back. Emma had seen it before, but she still had to hold back tears. Lily gasped. He's a boo-boo, she exclaimed. Mommy, he's a boo-boo. On the wedding night, Ben continued, I told him I wanted my dad back. Richard took me to the bedroom, closed the door, and he touched one of the burns. He said accidents happen to children who don't know how to sit still, that my dad learned that the hard way. Oh my God, Emma covered her mouth. He does it where it's not visible, where clothes cover it, and he always has an excuse ready. I fell, I burned myself by accident, I'm clumsy. When I tried to tell Mom, what happened? She was so drugged up she could barely hear me. Richard said I was traumatized, making up stories. He took me to a psychiatrist. The doctor said I had trauma-induced delusions. They started me on medication too. Medicines to keep me calm. But I pretended to take it and then spit it out. That's when Richard got really violent. He said, if I didn't stop making up lies... Ben shivered. He'd do to me what he did to my father. Emma hugged the boy, feeling his small body shake with sobs. Lily hugged them both, not understanding everything but knowing Ben needed love. There's more, Ben whispered. The worst part. What? Nana, my nanny. She raised me since I was a baby. She tried to protect me, tried to tell someone. Last week, she disappeared. Richard said she went to visit family in Mexico. But Nana doesn't have family in Mexico. She's from Maine. Emma felt bile rising. You think he... I know he did something to her. I heard him on the phone saying, the old lady's problem has been solved. Ben, the letter your father left, in the vault of the Bank of America, safe deposit box 1247. It only opens with my fingerprint. Dad said if anything happened to it, I should open it and give it to the police. But Richard would never let me near the bank. Emma stood, a fierce determination taking hold of her. He's not your father. He's not your legal guardian. He's a criminal. But he has money, lawyers. No one will believe Ben. Emma cupped his face in her hands. Look at me. I believe, and let's make everyone else believe too. Emma pulled out her old cell phone. First, let's record everything. Your injuries, your story, everything. Then, she paused, we'll get that letter. But it's dangerous. You know what's more dangerous? Letting this monster continue. What if he does to another child what he did to you? Ben straightened his shoulders, new courage in his green eyes. You're right. My father tried to protect me even after he died. I can't let that be in vain. Bad man hurt Ben? Lily asked in her tiny voice. Yes, baby, Emma said, but we won't let him hurt any more. Lily went to her toy box and came back with a pepper band-aid. Pig. He gently stuck to Ben's arm. There. Now it will heal. Ben looked at the colourful band-aid and, for the first time in months, actually smiled. "Thank you, Lily." Emma then picked up the phone again and called her cousin. The phone rang 3 times before Jessica answered. "Emma, are you okay? What happened?" "Jess, I need your help. It's life or death." "Jesus, Emma, where are you?" "At home. Listen, do you still work at the law firm?" "Yes, but I need you to research a will. Benjamin Ashford II. He died 2 months ago." On the other end of the line, Jessica was quiet for a few seconds. "Ashford? The billionaire who died in the yacht accident?" "That's right." "Emma, what have you gotten yourself into?" Emma looked at Ben, sleeping on the couch with Lily in his arms. The 2 children looked like angels in the dim morning light. "I'm protecting his son, Jess, and there are very dangerous people after him. I'll meet you in an hour at the office. Come alone." Emma left the children with Mrs. Chen, pretending to have a medical emergency. At the Palmer and Associates law firm, Jessica was waiting for her with coffee and bags under her eyes. "Ashford's will. It's a bombshell." "What does it say?" "The boy inherits $2 billion when he turns 18. But look at this clause." Jessica pointed at the screen. "If anything happens to Benjamin III before he comes of age, it all goes to Victoria Ashford, his mother. And she's married to Richard Blackstone." Jessica nearly spilled her coffee. "Is Richard Blackstone involved in this?" "He's the stepfather, and he's abusing the boy." "Oh my God." Jessica typed frantically. "Emma, there's more. Here's a safety clause. Father left a sealed letter in Vault 1247 at the Bank of America, Central Agency. It can only be opened with the child's biometrics." Ben mentioned that. "Wait, there's a lawyer's note here." Jessica read. "Mr. Ashford insisted on this clause 3 days before he died, as if he knew." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. He knew. Ben heard his father threatening Richard the night before. Jessica slammed her laptop shut. "Emma, this boy is in mortal danger. If Richard has his way, if anything happens to Ben, he gets everything. That's why he offered $10 million to find him." $10 million, Jessica gasped. "Emma, you have to go to the police." "With what proof? The word of a traumatized child against a billionaire? You know how this ends." Jessica paced back and forth. "But the letter in the safe." "Exactly. We need to get that letter." "What? Richard must have men watching all the banks." Emma bit her lip, thinking, then her face lit up. "Unless he doesn't know we know about the letter." "Emma, no. Whatever you're thinking, Jess, you have access to legal forms, right?" "Yes, but I need emergency authorization, as if I were related to Ben." Jessica shook her head. "That's a fake. This is saving a child." Emma grabbed her cousin's hands. "Jess, he has cigarette burns on his back, 8 years old. If we don't do something..." Jessica closed her eyes, struggling with her conscience. "Damn. Okay, but if we get arrested, I take all the blame." 30 minutes later, Jessica had the documents ready. "Here. Emergency temporary guardianship authorization. It's not perfect, but it might work." Emma hugged her cousin. "You're saving a life." "Emma," Jessica grabbed her arm. "There's one more thing. I researched Richard Blackstone. He has a troubled history." "Like this?" 2 ex-wives. Both died in accidents. A fall down the stairs, a car accident. Both were rich. Both left everything to him. Emma felt nauseous. "He's a serial killer." "Legally, no, but the pattern is disturbing." Jessica handed over a flash drive. "I copied everything. If something happens to you, nothing will happen." Back at the apartment, Emma found Ben and Lily playing at drawing. The scene was so normal, so pure, that for a second she forgot the danger. "Emma," Lily ran to hug her. "Ben taught me how to draw horses. They look beautiful, baby." Ben approached, eager. "Find anything." Emma knelt in front of him. "Ben, you're not alone. We'll fight. The boy's green eyes filled with tears. Really? Seriously? And let's start by getting that letter. But how? Emma showed the documents. Emergency guardianship. It's not perfect, but it might buy us time. Ben looked at the papers as if they were made of gold. You're risking everything for me. Do you know why? Ben shook his head. Because it's right. And because. Emma ruffled his hair. You're already part of this messed-up family. Family? Ben's voice broke. Is Ben our brother now? Lily asked hopefully. Emma looked at Ben, seeing the hope, fear, and desire in his eyes. If he wants to. Ben threw himself into her arms, crying like the child he was, not the miniature adult Richard had forced him to be. Yes, he sobbed. Yes, I do. We'll go to the bank early tomorrow morning, Emma said to Ben. Hours passed. It was 3 a.m. when Emma woke to a strange noise. It wasn't the dripping faucet or the rats in the walls. It was the sound of metal on metal. Someone was fiddling with the lock. Her heart raced. She jumped out of bed, running to the children. Ben, Lily, wake up now. Mommy? Lily rubbed her eyes sleepily. Shh. Emma placed her hand over her daughter's mouth. Let's play hide and seek, okay? Crack. The door was broken down. 2 huge men entered, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Run! Emma screamed. She picked Lily up. Ben grabbed her hand. The kitchen window, the fire escape. There's the kid! One of the men shouted. Emma threw a chair in their direction, buying precious seconds. She slammed the window open, the rusted metal protesting. Ben, first, quick! The boy climbed up, agile despite his fear. Emma passed Lily to him. Watch out! Ben! Lily whimpered. I'll get her! Emma! Come on! Emma was halfway out when she felt a hand grab her ankle. I caught the thief. She kicked with all her might, hitting the man in the face. He screamed, releasing her. Emma fell onto the fire escape, the icy metal cutting into her hands. Get down, get down! They stumbled down, skipping steps. Lily cried softly, Ben shielding her with his own body. The alley was dark, reeking of garbage and despair. When they reached the street, Emma stopped in shock. A black SUV blocked the exit. Another one was on the opposite side. They were trapped. The SUV door opened slowly. A $5,000 Italian shoe touched the wet asphalt. Richard Blackston stepped out, adjusting his shirt cuffs as if he were in a business meeting, not a kidnapping. Mrs. Thompson. His voice was velvety smooth, but his eyes were predatory. What unnecessary haste! Emma pushed the children behind her. Stay away from them. Richard laughed, a mirthless sound. Them, ma'am, there's only one him here that interests me. You're not my father, Ben screamed, shaking with anger and fear. Ben, quiet. Richard didn't even look at him. His eyes were fixed on Emma. Let's negotiate like civilized adults. Civilized? You invaded my home. Correction. My employees entered a property where my son was being illegally held. He smiled, showing 2 white teeth. See how stories can change depending on who tells them. Richard pulled out his phone and showed the screen to Emma. A bank transfer was ready. $5 million. 1 click, Mrs. Thompson. 1 click and you'll never have to serve coffee to drunk truckers again. Lily will have private school, university, a life you could never give her. Emma looked at the amount. More money than she would see in 10 lifetimes. What if I refuse? Richard's smile faded. He slowly opened his jacket, revealing a pistol. Lily goes to PS 147, doesn't she? Morning shift. Her teacher is Miss Rodriguez. She always plays on the playground after school, waiting for you. Emma's blood ran cold. You wouldn't dare. Me? Richard feigned surprise. Of course not. But Newark is dangerous. So many accidents happen. Drunk drivers, stray bullets. He leaned closer, his expensive perfume making Emma sick. It would be a shame if something happened to such a little girl. Monster! Emma spat. Lily began to cry louder, not understanding but sensing the danger. Ben hugged the girl. "Don't cry, Lily. It's going to be okay." "How touching," Richard scoffed. "The little hero protecting his stepsister. Ben, come here, now." "No," Richard sighed theatrically. "Mrs. Thompson, let me be clear." He snapped his fingers. 4 men stepped out of the SUVs, surrounding them. "Option 1, you take the money, hand me the boy, and everyone moves on. Option 2, he touched the gun. "Well, option 2, only Ben goes with me. You and your daughter, accidents happen." Emma felt her legs tremble. She looked at Ben, the boy who trusted her, who called her family. She looked at Lily, her baby, innocent in all of this. "Mommy," Lily whispered, "will the bad man hurt us?" That's when Emma noticed. Her phone was still in her pocket. Recording. Jessica had installed an app that automatically recorded when triggered. She'd pressed the button on the stairs. "Mr. Blackstone," Emma spoke louder, clearer. "Are you threatening me, saying you'll take my 5-year-old daughter's life if I don't hand over Ben?" "Don't be dramatic. I'm offering a financial solution to your poverty problem. What if Ben doesn't want to go? Children don't know what they want. That's why they have legal guardians." Richard looked at Ben with contempt. "Isn't that right, son?" "I'm not your son!" Ben exploded. "You're a murderer!" Richard moved as fast as a snake. He grabbed Ben by the arm, pulling him violently. "Shut up, you ungrateful brat!" "Ouch! You're hurting me!" Emma saw red. She forgot her fear, her weapons. She leapt at Richard like a lioness protecting her cubs. "Get your hands off him!" She scratched Richard's face, leaving 3 red lines. He screamed, letting go of Ben. "Ugh, you little waitress!" Richard raised his hand to hit Emma, but Ben kicked him in the shin as hard as he could. "Don't touch her!" That's when they heard the sirens. Jessica came running around the corner with 2 police officers. "There, it's there. That man is trying to kidnap the children." Richard stepped back, his face a mask of fury. "This isn't over." "Sir, stay where you are," a police officer ordered. "Do you know who I am?" Richard growled. "With 1 phone call, I'll end your careers." "It could be the Pope," the police officer replied. "Threatening children is still a crime." Richard glared at Emma with pure hatred. "You have no idea what you just did." "Yes, I know." Emma held up her phone, showing that she was recording. "I just recorded you confessing to death threats." Richard's face lost all color. That won't fly in court." "We'll find out." Emma smiled, a fierce smile of a mother protecting her young. Richard got into the SUV. Before driving off, he rolled down the window. "You won tonight, but the war has only just begun, and I always win in the end." The SUV disappeared into the darkness. Ben hugged Emma, crying, "You were so brave." "You too, darling. You too." Lily squeezed them both. "The bad man left." "For now, baby. For now." Jessica ran to them. "Oh my God, Emma, when I got your emergency message, are you okay?" "We're alive." Emma looked at the horizon, where the sun was beginning to rise. "But he'll be back." "Then we better be ready," Jessica said. One of the officers approached. "Ma'am, you're going to need to give a statement." Emma nodded. She looked at Ben. "Are you ready to tell your story?" Ben straightened his shoulders, his green eyes shining with new determination. "I'm ready to tell the truth. All of it." The police officer frowned. "Wait, is that the missing boy from TV? Blackstone A.'s son?" "No," Ben said firmly. "I'm Benjamin Ashford III, and that man killed my father." The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of sirens approaching. The real battle was just beginning. At the police station, Detective Martinez, a 50-year-old man with tired but honest eyes, listened in silence. "Ben," he said gently, "I need to see the injuries." With Emma holding his hand, Ben lifted his shirt. The detective took photos, his jaw clenching with each documented burn. Jesus Christ, he muttered. How old did you say you were? 8, sir. Martinez looked at Emma. And you recorded the threats? Emma held up her phone. Richard's voice echoed through the room. It would be a shame if something happened to such a young girl. That's more than enough. Martinez stood up. I'll get a warrant now. What about that letter in the bank? I can open it, Ben said. Only I can. The delegate nodded. The warrant reached the criminal court that scheduled the hearing. 3 days later, the big day arrived. The courtroom was completely silent as Ben climbed the 3 steps to the witness stand. His feet dangled, never reaching the floor. Ben, Judge Sullivan adjusted her glasses, her voice gentle. Do you know the difference between truth and lies? Yes, ma'am. What Richard says is a lie. What I'm going to tell you now is the truth. Some people laughed nervously. Richard clenched his fists. Prosecutor Angela Davis approached. Ben, can you tell us what happened the night before your father died? Ben closed his eyes, remembering. It was late. I should have been sleeping, but I had a nightmare. I went to Dad's office. Go on. He was on the phone, yelling. I'd never seen Dad yell before. Ben opened his eyes, looking directly at Richard. He said, Richard, I know what you did to your ex-wives. If you ever come near my family again, I'll turn everything over to the police. Lie, Richard stood up. That brat is making it up. Order! The judge banged her gavel. Mr. Blackstone, one more interruption and you will be removed. Ben continued, his voice small but firm. The next day, Dad hugged me before he left, tight, as if he knew I wasn't coming back. He said, take care of Mom, Ben, and remember our safe secret. What secret? The prosecutor asked. The letter. He said if anything happened, I was to open safe 1247. Victoria sobbed loudly in the audience. Oh my God! Benjamin tried to warn us. The prosecutor picked up an envelope. Your Honor, the letter found in the safe. The judge opened it with trembling hands and read aloud, My dear Ben, if you're reading this, Richard succeeded in his plan. It was no accident. I'm attaching proof that he attempted to kill Sarah Morrison in 2019, a fall down a ladder, and Jennifer Blake in 2021, a car accident. Both were wealthy. Both became his wives. Both died within 6 months. He's going to try to kill your mother now. Protect yourself, my son. You're worth $2 billion to him dead. Get help. Trust your heart. With eternal love, Daddy. The silence was deafening. Then Victoria shouted, No, Benjamin! My Benjamin knew. She turned to Richard. You killed my husband. Richard smiled coldly. Prove it. The prosecutor held up a tablet. We can prove it. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present the yacht's security footage, recovered by forensic experts. On the screen, Richard was seen fiddling with the boat's engine, deliberately spilling fuel. Monster! Victoria tried to jump on him, being held back by guards. Ben started to cry. Now show me your injuries, Ben, the judge asked gently. Ben stood up, taking off his shirt. A woman on the jury covered her mouth, crying. Every burn has a story, Ben said. This is when I cried on Dad's birthday. This is when I wouldn't call him Dad. This, his voice broke, this is when I said I was going to tell someone. Emma couldn't help herself. May I hug him, Your Honor? Aloud. Emma ran to Ben, wrapping her arms around him. You're the bravest boy in the world. I'm not, Ben whispered. I was just lucky to find you. Out of nowhere, a frail voice echoed, I want to testify too. Everyone turned. Nana was standing, leaning on a cane. Ms. Morris, the judge said, you were the victim of kidnapping. You don't need... Yes, I do. Nana walked forward. This man, she pointed at Richard, her cane shaking, told me he was going to try to take Ben's life. He said it would be easy, like it was with his father. When I tried to run away to warn someone, he drugged me and locked me up. Senile old woman, Richard growled. Senile? Nana lifted her chin. I recorded you, you monster. She pulled a small recorder from her pocket. I've carried it ever since I saw you hurt my boy. Richard's voice filled the room. The old woman is gone. The brat is next. 2 billion is worth any dirt on your hands. Richard's defense attorney slumped in his chair. I have no further questions. Richard jumped, trying to get away. This is a setup. 3 guards took him to the ground. As they handcuffed him to the ground, Ben stepped down from the witness stand. Richard, Ben said, his childish voice cutting through the chaos. Richard stopped struggling, looking at him. My father was 10 times the man you will never be. And do you know why? Why, kid? Because he knew how to love. You only know how to hate. And in the end, Ben held Emma's hand. Love always wins. Victoria fell to her knees in front of Ben. Son, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not protecting you. Mommy, I was blind. The drugs, the pain. I let him hurt you. What mother does that? Ben knelt down too, wiping away her tears. A mother who was also being hurt. I forgive you, Mum. Mother and son embraced, crying out years of pain. The judge wiped her eyes. Never, in 30 years of practice. She paused, composing herself. Richard Blackstone, you are the embodiment of evil. For the murders of Benjamin Ashford II's, Sarah Morrison and Jennifer Blake, for child abuse, kidnapping and conspiracy, I sentence you to life in prison, without parole, without appeal. The hammer struck like thunder. No, I am rich. I am powerful. You're nothing, Emma said, holding Ben and Lily, just a small man who hurt children. As they dragged Richard out, he yelled, I'll be back. You'll pay. Ben looked at him one last time. No, you're not coming back, because now I have a real family, and real families protect each other. The room erupted in applause. People cried and hugged. Justice, finally, had been served. Victoria approached Emma. You, a stranger, saved my son when his own mother. Emma held her hands. We weren't strangers, we were 2 mothers. And mothers will do anything for their children. Can I be a part of this family? Emma looked at Ben, who nodded. Family always has room for more love. Lily tugged at Victoria's dress. Can you be my grandma? I never had a grandma. Victoria laughed through her tears. It would be an honor, dear. As they walked out of the courthouse together, Emma, Ben, Lily, Victoria, Nana and Jessica, reporters shouted questions. But Ben only had eyes for Emma. Emma, yes, dear? Can I call you Mom? Emma stopped, the tears finally winning. Always, my son. Always. End of history.